All right, so that was the second voting period. Now, how does Isaiah handle that? Well, look, it's 5 through 7 in Psalm 90. Oh, my mouse is having a problem again. That's 5 through 8 in Psalm 90, okay? And that's 70 syllables. So what does Isaiah do? Isaiah has, sorry, I'm not good at making this work. Isaiah has split the 70 of the first voting period there, and that is equivalent to our Isaiah 52:15, and that's about atonement, as you can look it up if you look it up in English. All right, and then Isaiah 53:10 is also about atonement, and this is specifically about atonement for the Gentiles in both verses. He splits up the 70. Now, that's really very funny, too. Look at the width there. The first voting period in history was Adam. They were Gentiles. Okay, so Isaiah takes that same voting period and... sorry. He takes that same voting period and he splits it up in a verse that's talking about the Gentiles in 52:15, and another verse that's talking about atonement period for everybody, because in those days there were no Jews, so the atonement contract of eternity past is in Isaiah 53:10. So he splits them. All right, and the Jews are in between, which we're going to see next. All right, that's what's so funny. Okay, so Isaiah 52:15 and 53:10 are talking back to Isaiah Psalm 90 verses 5 through 8, which is 70 syllables, which Isaiah splits. Okay, the third voting period in history, again, I cover this in much more detail in my Psalm 90 playlist. The third voting period in history was Noah's vote. Whoops, let me get to verse 9. Okay, wait a minute, yeah. Again, don't laugh at the Hebrew too much. It's showing upside down. I apologize. There's not a damn thing I can do about it. Okay, the third voting period in history is in Psalm 90 verses 9 through 11, and this is when Noah voted, as you'll see in my Psalm 90 playlist. Okay, and what's really cute about this, okay, but it's like, all right. What's really cute about this is this word right here in Hebrew. Okay, it's how do I want to pronounce it? Evrateka. Evrateka. All right. Now, this is where the word Hebrew comes from. But Evrateka has all these other meanings in Hebrew. So you just can't translate them into English. Evrateka means to overflow, to come out, to flood, to pass through. And specifically in this verse, the idea of when you're angry, you're overflowing with emotion, and that's why it says your anger, usually in English, your fury, your wrath. Okay? You're being angry. But in Hebrew, that's a play on the word Hebrew. You know, the Hebrews are the ones who passed through the Red Sea. All right? The Hebrews are the ones who passed over. Passover, okay? They were passed, the angel passed over them, and they flooded through, they went through, okay? They overflowed. That's why they were called Hebrews, okay? And it was due to the wrath of God that they came through. Okay, but this is Noah's period, not the Exodus. It's Noah's period. Okay, but Noah passed through the flood. You get it? Noah went through the flood. So this is wordplay on the flood. For the 70 years, because notice. All right? Am I going to do this right? Yeah. This is the 70 years of the flood. See, you got 21, you got 35, and you got 14 is the number of syllables. That adds up to 70. Okay? And then this is actually the last word in the verse. Like I said, the Hebrew's not showing up right. That's the anger of God, the flooding, the overflowing, and so the Hebrews are named after that. Only it's Noah who went through the flood. And this is the testimony of Noah in the second voting period of history. See how funny that is? You can't see that in the English. Okay, and it's 70 syllables, the voting period. Okay, so how does Isaiah depict that? Well, he skips over this part. He skips over it here. Alright? Because that's about how the Jews reacted to Christ when he came. Isaiah 53, 1 and 2. Okay, he skips over that. And he reserves the 70 right here. Okay? And this is Isaiah 53, 3. Oh. You know, right when it's important, that's when the mouse goes screwy. Okay? That's Isaiah 53, 3. And that's combined with Isaiah 53, 4, which is this right here, equals 70 syllables. Okay? Now, Isaiah 53, 3 and 4, if you looked it up, is talking about how everybody despised him when he came, but he paid for us. Okay? That's the flood of our sins hitting him. Okay? He paid. He was brought through the flood of our sins. So Isaiah is playing on the flood. Okay? Because he's playing on the ark. The ark always represented salvation. Okay, you got the first ark being Noah, the second ark being Moses, in the bulrushes, the third ark being the ark in the temple, and the fourth and final ark is Christ himself. Okay, and he is delivered through the payment for our sins on the cross, and at the same time he's delivering us. You get that pun? It's all the flooding of wrath, the flooding of sins hitting him. Alright? That's why Isaiah 53, 3 and 4 is on. And that's why Isaiah is playing off the second voting period here. I have to wait for the mouse. Is playing off the second voting period here, which is actually about Noah, with the word play in the very last word of the verse, overflowing anger. I think some Bibles translate it. Okay? Yeah. The overflowing anger on him, the overflowing anger that was appeased by Yom Kippur, sprinkling of the blood, which we're going to get to. The overflowing anger at the Passover, Passover Hebrew equals, okay. And the overflowing anger, of course, at the flood. You see all that? You can't. How do you translate it? You can't. All right? And it's stressing the 70s voting period. Okay. The next voting period is Moses' own voting period, and that's illustrated here in Psalm 90 verses 12 through 15. And if you look at the numbers in the far left-hand corner, you got 15 syllables for verse 12, 15 syllables for verse 13, 24 syllables for verse 14, and 16 syllables for verse 15. Okay, and that adds up to 70. Now, verse 15 is the most significant, and again, please don't laugh at the Hebrew being upside down too much. Well, it's not upside down, it's just backwards. The first words are listed last, and the last words are listed first. Psalm 90, verse 15 says, "Make us happy for as many days as you've afflicted us." I believe that's how one of the English translations puts it in. All right, for as many years as we've seen evil. All right, it's very poetic. That's exactly why Isaiah splits these things here. Okay, he's showing. See, we got a 35 here. And then as many is mirrored back here. See, that was Moses' prayer during his own voting period, which was just before the Exodus. Okay.